Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we got a bunch of Steelers news and rumors to cover with you guys here on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. First up, I'm going to let you guys know why I'm warming up to the idea of the Steelers either bringing in Sam Darnold or Justin Fields to be this team's starting quarterback in 2025. Number two, I'm going to talk about the two players that Pro Football Focus predicts the Steelers will sign in free agency this year. We'll finish up today's show with a new George Pickens trade idea from the 33rd team that is certainly a little bit spicy. So before we get into the content today, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already and join the largest individually run Steelers news community anywhere on YouTube. We give you guys daily Steelers videos here on the platform, breaking news coverage whenever Omar Khan makes a big move during the offseason. Weekly live shows, we have 2 a week, plus if there's breaking news and it's a really big story, we go live for that. It's all 100% free, guys. We now have over 75,000 Steelers fans subscribe to the channel, so help us get to 76,000 here by clicking that subscribe button right now. So personally, guys, I'm starting to warm up to the idea of Sam Darnold being the next Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback heading into the 2025 season and beyond. And the reason why I'm starting to warm up to the idea is because the Minnesota Vikings this year invested in a VR quarterback training technology called Cognilyze, or at least that's the company that owns this VR experience that has helped quarterbacks like Jayden Daniels, Marcus Mariota this year in Washington, and then the Minnesota Vikings are the other NFL team that has embraced this VR technology that has really helped these quarterbacks take their game to a whole nother level. We broke down this technology, why it works, and why it could help out Justin Fields specifically in a video we put out earlier this week. So if you guys want to see why this technology is revolutionary and why I think the Steelers should adopt it, I'm going to put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. And listen, man, the result of Sam Darnold using this VR technology to help his mental processing was he had the best season of his career, and it wasn't even close. All right, you guys can take a look at the numbers. The career averages for Sam Darnold versus what he did in Minnesota this year. The completion percentage jumped 5 points, which is just insane, ladies and gentlemen. The yards per attempt, almost a full yard more per attempt. The touchdown percentage jumped significantly. The interception percentage maybe still a little bit too high, but it's still significantly lower than it was before this year in Minnesota. And then the quarterback rating jumped almost 20 points. Okay, so Sam Darnold definitely made a huge improvement here in 2024 compared to the stats that he put up previously in his NFL career. And it's, I think, a lot to do with the VR headsets. And also, I think that Sam Darnold, his skill set as a passer fits really nicely in the kind of offense Arthur Smith wants to run. I mean, maybe Sam Darnold's best trait is that he can mentally process a defense, full field reads. It's what he did best there with the Minnesota Vikings in 2024 this season. And you guys can see here, I think he's got excellent size. He's over 220 pounds. This guy's pretty thick, guys. And then you got the arm talent that is phenomenal, can throw to all levels of the field with touch and accuracy. The middle of the field efficiency, especially when he was targeting guys like Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson this year, was just absolutely off the charts. And then his mental processing speed, you could definitely tell, went up significantly from his previous seasons with other teams like the Carolina Panthers, San Francisco 49ers, and of course the New York Jets. But he is a little bit over-aggressive at times, guys. He can put the ball in harm's way a little bit too much. He does hold on to the ball a little bit too long. He likes to really hunt the deep ball. And then, this year he kind of showed a little bit of the yips in the big games. Didn't play well in the Vikings' 2 biggest games of the year. And that's certainly something that's going to have to get better if he becomes the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the reason why I'm optimistic about Sam Darnold and why I would be okay with the Steelers making a move to make him this team's next franchise quarterback is because I think his weaknesses will continue to deteriorate and fade the longer he uses this VR technology from Cognilyze. And I think, that he is going to pretty much demand that the next team that he goes to and the team that he chooses invests in this technology because it definitely helped out his numbers this year. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So I think Darnold, part of his free agency process here, the team that he decides to go to, the team is going to have to invest and really bring in this new school technology because I think, Jayden Daniels made this a condition for whatever team was going to draft him. Washington brought it in and drafted him number 2 overall. I think it's going to be a similar thing here for Sam Darnold because all these quarterbacks that use this VR technology to help their mental processing ability, they swear by it, and the numbers and the production backs that up. But I am very optimistic about Sam Darnold. I'd be okay with him being the next quarterback of the Steelers. You could certainly make the argument that this kind of VR technology could be extremely beneficial for Justin Fields as well. And you can certainly make an argument that Fields has an even higher ceiling than Sam Darnold possesses, in terms of their physical skill set. Obviously, Justin is a much more dynamic rusher of the football than Sam is. And I would even argue a better passer outside of structure than Sam Darnold is in this point in their respective careers. So listen, man, I think that the best case for Justin Fields for QB1 of this football team moving forward is a pretty darn good one. All right, in the AFC, there are multiple first ballot Hall of Fame type of quarterbacks. Or you got Patrick Mahomes, you've got Lamar Jackson, you got Josh Allen. And, to get through those three teams over the next decade, you can make an argument in order to beat those teams and beat those dudes at quarterback, you have to have a dude of your own. And Justin Fields has the highest upside of any quarterback available to the Steelers this offseason, but you have to acknowledge that going with him as your starting quarterback does come with risks. All right, here was his advanced metrics with the Pittsburgh Steelers last season. None of them in the top 16, the top half of the league. Most of them are in the mid-20s among NFL quarterbacks last year. The EPA per attempt, and by the way, that includes his rushing attempts, only 25th in the National Football League. That was lower than guys like Russell Wilson, for example, who is getting run out of this football team right now. The catchable ball percentage was 24th, so accuracy is still a little bit of an issue. Even despite the fact he was 24th in average depth of target, he's still only 24th in catchable ball percentage. So that's not really a encouraging stat combination there. He was 23rd in yards per attempt, 29th in big-time throw percentage, so he wasn't really fitting it in to tight windows down the field, making those big-time plays that elevate an offense. The turnover-worthy play percentage was 22nd, had a lot of fumbles last season. And then the average time to throw is still way too long at 3.04 seconds. That ranked 40th in the National Football League. But maybe, just maybe, a risk is exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers need at quarterback right now. All right, maybe you just have to, dive in head first into the deep end here and hope that Justin Fields, in this massive physical skill set that he possesses in the second year of Arthur Smith's system, can have a big breakout season, especially if you invest in VR technology like in Cognilyze. I think Justin Fields could certainly have an opportunity to be the next superstar quarterback in the AFC and catapult the Steelers to Super Bowl contention. But there's no question about it, he is 100% a risk if the Steelers decide to turn to him this offseason. So pick a quarterback for me down there in the comment section. Who would you rather have as QB1 of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Type SD for Sam Darnold or type JF for Justin Fields. Honestly, I might even lean a little bit towards Justin Fields because I think he's got the higher upside and he's going to be cheaper than Sam Darnold is. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. In just a second here, I'm going to talk about our sponsor today at Public Rec. While I'm talking about our sponsor today, go down there, find that pinned comment, and let me know which quarterback you'd rather have in the black and gold next year. Okay, now let's talk about our friends at Public Rec. And let's be real, guys. Wearing uncomfortable clothes just isn't worth it anymore. Why settle for stiff, restricting fabric when you can have something that looks sharp and feels as comfy as your favorite sweats? This year, make the switch to Public Rec, where comfort rules. Public Rec isn't just about pants, guys. It's about making sure you stay comfortable no matter what your day throws at you. They have so many great style options that are perfect for just hanging around the house, drinking beers on the golf course, or even when you need to impress the boss in the office. Whatever pants you choose, you'll be blown away by how comfortable they are. And for a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off their entire order when you use code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. That's 20% off your entire order when you use promo code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. And let me tell you guys, man, this is the most comfortable clothing I have ever put on my body, and that is not an exaggeration. All right? Like, I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. I wear them all the time. I wear them pretty much every single day because they're super breathable, but yet they're still made with like quality materials, so they're warm during the winter as well. And then the pants, I mean, what's a big game changer for me, guys, is the tailored, customizable sizing options, because most pants, because I'm tall and skinny, you guys know this, it's either too long, it's either too wide, or it's too short. And, for me, like with Public Rec, I can customize my pant size, and it looks perfect on me, all right? Plus, it's made with premium materials, so it's perfect to wear in the summer, in the winter, any time of the year. It makes you look good. It makes you feel good. It's absolutely fantastic, guys. So make your New Year's resolution a comfortable one today. No more pants that pinch, tug, or annoy. For a limited time only, you guys get 20% off at Public Rec by using our code CHAT20 at checkout. Just head on over to publicrec.com and use code CHAT20, and you're all set. set. Oh, and when you ask them when they ask you how you found them, be sure to mention our show Steelers Talk by Chat Sports because it really does help us out. Find your perfect fit and never compromise on comfort again. Public Rec, where comfort rules. So in a recent article released by Pro Football Focus, they say the Pittsburgh Steelers should make 2 splash signings this offseason. Number one, they say go out and get veteran cornerback DJ Reed, formerly with the New York Jets, and then sign Amari Cooper, who is currently still playing for the Buffalo Bills this season. So we'll start with DJ Reed, what Mason Cameron, the author of these articles, had to say about Reed to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Reed enters free agency after notching his 6th straight season with an overall grade above 70, accomplishing the feat across 3 different franchises. In 2024, he recorded a 51.28 lockdown percentage, continuing a trend of standout play that defined his time in New York, while he ranked in the 91st percentile among outside cornerbacks over 3 seasons. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who rely heavily on their corners in closed coverages, the highest rate in the NFL this past season, would be a natural fit for Reed. Pairing him with rising star Joey Porter Jr. could solidify their secondary and enable the Steelers to maintain their aggressive defensive identity. And listen, man, I think that getting that number 2 cornerback spot this free agency or in the draft is going to be 100% one of the biggest needs that the Steelers need to address. I don't think Dante Jackson is a good fit for what the Steelers want to do moving forward. I thought he was really bad in man coverage, and the Steelers want to play a lot of man coverage, especially against teams like Cincinnati and Baltimore. I think DJ Reed would be a perfect fit. He's a great veteran, and right now Pro Football Focus projects that the Steelers could get him for a 3-year, $14 million per season contract. I think for somebody that's had this kind of track record, I think that's more than a fair price, guys. I would absolutely pull the trigger and bring DJ Reed to the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Steelers do play lots of closed coverages. That means just one single high safety, and they really do trust their corners to hold up on the outside. So you need to get somebody they could trust in man coverage. I think DJ Reed fits that bill, and I think the price tag is worth it over 3 seasons. Now let's talk about Amari Cooper here. Mason thinks it's a good fit, and this is why. The 30-year-old Cooper will have his fair share of suitors on the open market, likely teams looking to add quality veteran leadership to their receiver room. What better place to provide a presence than a team with a history of animated receivers like Pittsburgh? The Steelers were actively shopping for receiving help at the trade deadline, with reports linking them to several options, including the former Brown. Talking about Cooper there. Pairing the even-keeled Cooper with George Pickens would be a prudent move to calm the Steelers' receiver room and split defensive attention. Listen, man, I don't think this is necessarily a good idea for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I talked about it in my show yesterday where I think Cooper is starting to hit a cliff a little bit, and I think we see that with his production in a really, really good Buffalo Bills offense this year where it wasn't good in Cleveland, and it's been, not even that much better with Buffalo, which, they got Josh Allen, arguably the MVP of the league this year, and he still only surpassed 4 touchdowns this year. The average this year is pretty decent, still a decent deep threat. He's a bigger-bodied receiver, can make contested catches still, but last year was a really awesome season for him in Cleveland. This year, not so much, and I think that he is regressing physically a little bit based on what we're seeing on Buffalo's film, and honestly, he's not even the number 1 receiver in Buffalo this year. And that's saying something given their wide receiver core right now. So the PFF projected contract, it's even more than DJ Reed. 2 years, $17.5 million per season. I think that's way too much for a declining talent like Cooper. And honestly, I think the Steelers might want to trade George Pickens. So the idea that, you bring in Cooper to kind of tame George Pickens and teach him how to be a pro or whatever, I'm just not sure if that's going to be the case. And speaking of George Pickens trade rumors, there's a new trade idea that was put out by the 33rd team earlier this week. By the way, George Pickens responded to this idea earlier this week. I actually reacted to that on yesterday's show. But let's talk about this trade idea here because they put this up on their social media platforms this week. George Pickens for a 2025 second-round pick. Send him to the Washington Commanders. All right. And personally, guys, I think if a team is willing to give me a second-round pick for George Pickens, I'm taking that in a heartbeat. I think the Steelers are taking that in a heartbeat. I love George Pickens' skill set, and if the Steelers can find a way to keep George Pickens happy and, all these different things and, improve the punctuality, improve the professionalism, improve, the effort issues that we've seen on his film the last 3 seasons, I would love for him to be a Steeler for life. But it certainly seems like the Steelers are kind of looking like, they want to move on from George George Pickens. They want to revamp this wide receiver room. And, I'm not sure if Washington would trade a second-round pick for Pickens because there are risks involved in bringing in Pickens. This is somebody where it's pretty well established. He doesn't show up to meetings on time. He doesn't show up to practices on times. He doesn't show up to games on time regularly. Like just this past year on Christmas, he didn't show up to the game on time, according to Mike Florio. So, there's certainly risks involved with getting George Pickens, but the talent is unbelievable. So it's going to be weird to see how the trade market kind of values Pickens this year because you are taking on risk, but he is also an unbelievable talent that could certainly be a great addition to Jayden Daniels in the Commanders' receiving room. Let me know down there in the comments section, would you take a second-round pick from Washington for George Pickens? Type A for accept or D for decline. Keep in mind this would be kind of a later second-round pick because the Commanders are playing on Championship Sunday here. So make sure you guys type A for accept or D for decline if you would trade Pickens for a second-rounder and send him to the nation's capital. Before I go here, I do want to give a big congratulations to TJ Watt for being a Defensive Player of the Year finalist. I will say that his ankle injury certainly put a damper on his production to finish the season. And it really is a shame that he wasn't really 100% ready to go come playoff time because that might have made a little bit of a difference in helping the defense play a bit better. But I think that, that declining production at the end of the season is probably going to mean he doesn't win this award. He is a finalist, so congratulations to TJ. But the other candidates here, Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson. I think Hendrickson, the leader in sacks in the National Football League this year, is probably the favorite to win it, but I also think Patrick Surtain will also have a chance to win it as well as the #1 corner in the National Football League. And how about Zach Bond as an inside linebacker getting on this list as well? Congratulations to all these guys. Myles Garrett can, whatever with him. But, congratulations to TJ. Hopefully he wins it. I don't think he will. Honestly, he was more deserving of it last year, but it's certainly great and a great honor to be a finalist for any major award, especially Defensive Player of the Year. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your support and making it to the end of today's show. It really does help out this channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you enjoy our content here on Steelers Talk. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.